My heavy bag that I had in my parents' garage before I even came to Brown. All those dots on it, that's blood. I was actually trying to fill the thing up. I have been involved in, because in this talk, I want to kind of give you guys an idea of why I was fighting, why these other people are fighting, and who they are as people. So I was definitely, I had a lot of anger issues. I had a lot of aggression. I had to get that stuff out. I found kickboxing, which helped me a lot. I started training Muay Thai. I loved it. It was such an outlet. And then I came to Brown. I started taking sociology and played football. And so I was on the football team. And it was 21 years ago, exactly half my life, where I was here at Maxey Hall. And MMA wasn't even a term. It hadn't come about. But in 1993, that's when the UFC happened, the first UFC. And I remember being in the dorm, and my friend coming to me, he's like, dude, you gotta see what I just saw. He's like, it was awesome, you want to do it. And I watched the first UFC, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, these are nuts, you could see teeth flying. It's just, back then, it was just brutal. I didn't think I would ever want to actually compete. I didn't think I had the courage, strength, whatever. I wasn't a fighter. So I graduated from Brown, last day of Brown, like a good friend. Took off back home all the way on a motorcycle. Drove from California to Rhode Island and then back again. Just another little look at, I was nuts. I don't recommend anyone doing that, especially trying to do it in 5 days. So after I graduated, didn't know what I was going to do. I started bouncing. I got into bodyguard work. I was working for a lot of celebrities. And through bodyguarding, that's where I found defensive tactics. Because I'd always been interested in being physical. Didn't matter what it was, I wanted to be physical. And in defensive tactics, my instructor was a black belt in all these different arts. But as soon as I learned a tiny bit of jiu-jitsu, just a tiny bit of grappling, I was able to nullify everything he had in 20 seconds. So just because of my strength and my size and a little bit, like a very little bit of technique, I was able to beat another man, and that was a pretty awesome feeling. And so I started training with Boss Rutan, who's, you can see him on TV all the time. He's also in movies now, just an incredible guy. So Boss Rutan and Marco Huas, those were my instructors. I snuck out for my very first fight. I didn't tell anyone, and I just went and did it. And I actually paid money to do the fight. I think I paid $25 or $50 because it was just a winner take all, and in a little what was it? A little nightclub, and just very, very sketchy. They just like, okay, you guys are about the same size, and jump in the cage. So I did it. I loved it. Got addicted to it. From there, while I was still fighting, I was working on my writing. There's definitely been a passion of mine. I didn't discover that until after Brown. A lot of fiction, a lot of dark fiction. And so I was plugging away, mainly short stories. I think I wrote maybe 3 or 4 novels that are just garbage, that will never see the light of day. I won't even try to rewrite them. From there, I made the move to Vegas. I tried to become a professional boxer with absolutely no experience. I don't recommend anyone do that. But I was a big, strong white guy who was told, hey, why are you doing MMA when you can make all this money? In fact, I was scheduled to fight a bare knuckle boxing match in Alabama. And I had no boxing experience. But I was going to be the main event going against this stud from Russia, someone who taught their martial arts to the army or whatever. And I was going to get destroyed, but it was going to be $10,000, and I didn't care, and I had a puncher's chance. So that's how I got into boxing. That moved me to Vegas. I finally gave up boxing after a lot of concussions. Got back into the cage fighting. Had a blast, made great friends. After my last concussion, I said that was enough. And I didn't have a winning record. I was losing, and so I was like, why am I even doing this? From there, got back into the writing, put out books, have a family, became a stay-at-home dad with a little girl. So from 3 months on, I was a stay-at-home dad. That will change you. I became a much more peaceful person. And that's kind of where the project came back, because You know, now I have a 3-year-old daughter who is trying to put me in triangle chokes, who's punching me, who's kicking me, who is, you know, and we're having fun with it. We're having a lot of fun. But at the same time, my friends will call me up and be like, hey man, come and watch the UFC. And we'll go over there, and I'm looking at it, I was like, wow, I was like, I did this. Not the UFC. I've been 5 days out from the UFC when I hurt my collarbone. But that kind of fighting, I just couldn't imagine that. And then I was like, well, if I did that, you know, showing this to my daughter already, not she wasn't watching the fight, but just doing moves with her, I was like, is she going to follow my path? Because I don't want that. So I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll start this study, and I'll find out what fighters are all about. And so that's what I did. I started just going around the country.